guys are all familiar with the Jurassic Park movies. Yeah, so of course all 4 of those are at least partially filmed here in Kauai. About 2 months ago they started filming the next one over on Oahu. But I do know they're going to come to Kauai pretty soon, so it shouldn't be long. I'm not sure exactly what part of Kauai they're going to film yet for the next one. The weather's so good though, I'll show you guys a couple places you'll definitely recognize from the previous movies. This next valley we're coming into is Hanapepe Valley. If you follow it all the way down to the ocean, you see that community. That's called Port Allen. So if you're thinking about doing a boat trip, or you have done a boat trip, most of those come in and out of Port Allen. A couple of overlooks on the side of the road. You can pull over on the side of the road and you'll look right at to about this section of Hanapepe that we're coming into. I want to take you guys around the corner up to the right and show you some places you can only see flying over. Now, as we come around the corner, I'll be willing to bet this is going to look a little familiar to most of you. Welcome to Jurassic Park. Remember all the way back in the very first movie, the helicopter flies up the valley, lands at the waterfall. What we all know is Jurassic Falls. That's it coming up in front of us. The real name of that waterfall is Manawai-Opuna. I'll bring that back and forth on both sides of the helicopter, make sure everybody gets a great view. Don't forget to look around. A lot of extra waterfalls right here from the rain we apparently had up in the mountains last night. Those will disappear by the end of the day if we don't get more rainfall. Guys, if you spot any velociraptors running around, give me a heads up. Yeah, it's been pretty pesky here. About it, Jason. Any velociraptors on your side? We're good?
Nothing I've seen yet, but this is absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place. Never get tired of that. As we make our turn, look all the way around you back here. You don't see anything developed. This is not a state park. It's not a national park. This is all private land owned by the Robinson family. Think about that. They've had this in their family for over 150 years. Truthfully could have done anything with this property during that time. Fortunately, they have not. Really big push right now in Kauai to keep it from being overdeveloped like a lot of the islands. And indirectly, I suppose they've been a big part of that to own 15% of the island. At least the mountain property has not been developed. Would love to spend some time back here exploring, backpacking, hiking. Chances are it'll never happen unless you personally know them. They don't really open up the gates and allow you to do that. But that being said, 65-70% of Kauai you can only see by flying over it. And of course, this is a big part of that. So I always feel very blessed to see it like this. You would be shocked and amazed to know how many people live on this tiny island their whole life, never see the biggest part of it. It's always amazing to me. And I think this was about 2 weeks ago. I had a local couple celebrating their 40th wedding anniversary. They had no idea they were doing a helicopter flight. The kids bought them the flight. They had done it a couple of years before, and their mother was terrified, said she would never do one, but so they bought it anyway. Drove them to the heliport, and that was the first chance the couple knew that they were going to do the flight. But they grew up, both of them grew up here in Kauai, and were born here. Had never seen the biggest part of the island. About halfway through the flight, I look back, and the couple have tears in their eyes. I'm like, "Are you guys okay?" Worried about them, because she was so nervous. She goes, "No, these are happy tears. I'm just so excited to see this and glad I did it." It's kids did an awesome job on that. But both of them were born here. The lady herself's never been off the island one time, and yet never saw the majority of what we get to see. This is Olakala Canyon that we're coming into. And guess who owns it? Same two guys, still part of their land. Not a big deal, but if you look up to the right, you can see the back of the canyon today. That's kind of unusual. That's usually covered in a lot of rain. And so that's almost the center of the island. And the center of this island receives around 450 inches of rain on average just about every year. So it makes it one of the wettest places on Earth. You look at your weather app, it's always going to show rain here in Kauai. And there's usually a shower or two somewhere, but the majority of that comes from the center of the island. If you get a rainy day, cruise over to Poipu, check out those monk seals. The South Shore only receives around 30 inches of rain per year. Think about that, 420 inches difference. There's only 12 miles separate those two places. I always thought it was incredible it could just be that way. Another unusual view, if you look straight in front of us, you see an island all the way off the coast. And that's the island of Ni'iau. And that's located 17 miles off the coast of Kauai. You don't usually see that from here, but guess who owns it? Same two guys, That was the very first piece of land that was ever purchased by the family. The great-great-grandmother, the two guys that own it now, Elizabeth Sinclair, who was originally from Scotland, ended up losing her husband and her oldest son at sea. They never returned from a shipping expedition, but that's how they made their fortune. Those two never returned. She decided to start all over. At the age of 63, after everything she'd been through, I can't imagine the spunk that lady had, but she packs up the ship, leaves Scotland, ends up in Canada, spent the winter there, said, nope, that's too cold. Left Canada, came here to Kauai, met King Kamehameha IV, and he sold her that island for $10,000 in gold, which was 20 pounds of gold at that time. Over time, acquired the rest of the land here in Kauai, and a total of, between the two, 92,000 acres. We just passed their property lines. Everything behind us belongs to the Robinsons. Everything else in front of us is all state-owned. Welcome to the beautiful Grand Canyon of the South Pacific, Waimea Canyon. Any of you guys driven up here yet? No? Can't do it all on one vacation, but if you get a chance, guys, I'd highly recommend it. It's a beautiful place, especially if you like to hike.
Yeah, we're going to come up tomorrow.
Okay, nice. Point out a couple of hiking trails along the way, so you guys. I moved here from the Big Island. I stayed down there for about a year before I came to Kauai, and one of the cool things I came across was, all the Hawaiian Islands come from the same hot spot in the Pacific Plate, and as it rotates, it creates shield volcanoes. Shield volcanoes are much different than like Mount St. Helens we're probably all familiar with. They don't have that explosive capability. They just build layer upon layer upon layer. And you go up to, or down to the Big Island. That's our youngest island. It's 500,000 years old. That island's still growing.